Dontaesboxingnation, what's going on, guys? You know, leading up to this Kambosos fight, Teofimo, he made a lot of predictions. He predicted that this fight would do 2 million pay-per-view buys. He predicted that they would be fighting in an arena with 60,000 fans. He also predicted that he would make $10 million fighting against Kambosos, and that was the reason why he wasn't fighting against Devin Haney. Well, it turns out he was wrong on all of those predictions, but he did manage to get one right, and that's when he said that he thinks Triller wants out of this fight with him and Kambosos. He nailed that one for sure.
From your vantage point, what exactly is causing the changes? I mean, I understand what the reasons are, like it conflicts with this sports game or another reason, but typically the promoter would sort of hammer that out up front. Like, from your vantage point, why does Triller keep running into these issues?
To be honest, I could only there's certain things that sometimes I have on my mind. However, I try to steer away from the negativity of that. I think it's honestly just something that they're trying to find a way out. You know,
a way out of
and
what?
For whatever reason, that's on them. You know, my whole thing is I'm an athlete that brings a lot of entertainment into the sport. You know, and that's why they had brought me into their platform. You know, the whole thing now is just trying to figure out these things. You know, October 4th, Madison Square Garden is where we're staying at. You know, and if this is something that they try to forfeit, you know, then we have the people of DAZN and ESPN to come back on board.
All right, so Teofimo, he did this interview a little less than a week ago. And a couple days after that, Triller came out and confirmed what Teofimo said. They announced that they were moving on without Teofimo and Kambosos to that October 16th date, which shows you how much they value Teofimo. I mean, for Triller to say it ain't no problem, we're moving on without you. The show is still going on. They're making it very clear that they did not see Teo as a star. This is the reason why the fight got pushed back in the first place. Well, the first time it got pushed back because they didn't want to go up against a retired old Floyd Mayweather that was doing an exhibition. Then the next date they pushed the fight back, the tickets weren't selling. According to Leonard Ellaby, they only sold 2,000 tickets. Once again, Teo, he promised that it was going to be 60,000 fans in the arena, but that was only assuming the fight would be in Australia, which would be, of course, Kambosos fans. After Triller noticed that the tickets weren't selling, that's when they realized they had been duped. They realized they had been duped when Teofimo walked in that office and he sold their ass. When he told them, I'm telling y'all, man, I'm the biggest thing in boxing. I'm going to do 2 million pay-per-views. Man, I'm the next Floyd Mayweather up in this sport. I'm the biggest thing since the iPhone came out. Man, I could see them in that room right now. He probably had them Triller people dancing. They were probably celebrating. Like, man, we about to take Triller to the next level with Teofimo. Just to find out that they got completely duped. And this is the reason why after the fight was postponed the second time, Triller, they wanted to put Kambosos on Oscar De La Hoya's undercard. And of course, Teo wasn't going to go for that because he like, hey, man, y'all trying to mess up my reputation. I'm supposed to be a superstar and y'all want to put me on somebody's undercard, right? So then Triller, they tried to go back to the original plan, host the fight in Australia once they realized that Teofimo didn't really have any fans that were going to buy tickets. They said, we got to put this fight in Australia. That's the only way we're going to make our money back. Now, understand, guys, according to Triller, they had already lost a total of around $8 to $10 million on this fight. They lost $6 million when it came to the purse bid, and then they lost another good $4 million when it came to promoting the second time the fight was postponed because they were flying celebrities out there that were going to perform. You know, they had to spend money on promoting the event. So then the fight gets postponed 2 more times because once again, Triller is desperately trying to find a way to make their money back, and they realize they're not going to make their money back just off of Teofimo Lopez's name. Because we already know if this was a big star, they would be able to host this fight on any day. They wouldn't be worried about a football game, a basketball game, or a Floyd Mayweather exhibition. They wouldn't have worried about competing with any of those events. if they had a star on their hands. Now, going back to that interview, the clip that I played, did you guys notice when Teofimo, he said, look, man, I'm trying to stay positive about the situation. He's telling you that this was a blow to his ego. When he says, I'm trying to stay positive, when the reporters are asking him, why would they do this? Why do they keep postponing it, et cetera, et cetera? And then he finally says it, I think they want out. And then he starts to say how, look, man, you know, I'm a big star, and that was the original reason why they wanted me in the first place. Well, the truth is they wanted you because you told them you were a star. And because of Triller's inexperience, they just believed you instead of looking at all the receipts, which is what they should have did. And I guarantee you they're going to do it next time. So Teo, he realizes that Triller is telling him, you are not a star. And it's almost like a singer going on American Idol, right? And this man, he thinking that he about to be the next Luther Vandross. He about to really be a big thing, right? All of a sudden, them judges like Simon Cowell or someone, they tell him, nah, man, this is not for you, right? They start clowning him. And he walk out that room saying, you know what, I don't care what nobody say. I'm still a star. I'm still going to be the best singer. I know I can sing. I don't care what nobody say. And this is pretty much what Teofimo is saying right now. He said, I don't care what Triller says. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a big star. I'm going to stay positive, and I'm not going to let this get me down, right? The thing is, Teofimo, he could definitely become a big star, but he's got to be willing to get in the ring with the dangerous fighters that the fans want to see him in the ring with. Teo wasted almost a whole year trying to make this Kambosos fight a fight that realistically no one was asking for. That's not Kambosos' fault. I mean, because there was a good chance Kambosos could have pulled off the upset. And the fight will still probably take place. It'll probably just be moved to the zone. But my point is, it's not Kambosos' fault that nobody wanted to see Teo versus Kambosos. My point is, once again, Teo could have avoided all of this if he would have did what he was supposed to do and what the fans wanted him to do, is take on Devin Haney. If Teo would have been fighting against Devin Haney, this would have been one of the biggest fights of the year. The fight would have never got postponed, and Teo would have made more money than he had ever made in his career. He would have made more money than he's still going to make in this Kambosos fight, which now he's taking a major pay cut because he went from Triller bidding $6 million on this fight to walking away from this mess. And now it's going to be DAZN's problem. Since DAZN were the second place bidders, they bid $3.5 million on this fight. So that means that now Teofimo is going to make half the amount of money he would have made if the fight would have stayed with Triller. And the irony of all of that is the fact that now he's going to make almost the exact same amount of money that Bob Arum offered him in the first place to fight Kambosos. Bob had it right from the beginning when it comes to this fight. He's always said that this fight is not worth paying for. He's always said that this wasn't a big fight. And the big fights would be Teofimo versus a Devin Haney, a Gervonta Tank Davis, a Ryan Garcia. Bob has always said this. So this plan of Teofimo trying to take the safe road, it really backfired on him. It really, really backfired on him and quite frankly turned his career upside down. It's pretty crazy when you think about it because you got the three amigos basically, which is Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, and Jojo Diaz. All three of these fighters that have been avoiding Devin Haney back to back to back. These three fighters have so much in common because all of their careers were turned upside down once they avoided the fights or the opponents that the fans wanted to see them take. Jojo Diaz is desperately trying to avoid a title shot that he fought for. And he's pushing for an easier fight against Ryan Garcia just to find out that Ryan Garcia doesn't even want to fight him. So now he's kind of forced to take the Devin Haney fight because there will be no way of justifying him fighting against some C or D level opponent that no one has ever heard of for crumbs. when he stands to make a good $1 million fighting against the champion, Devin Haney. Once again, man, all three of these fighters turned down their biggest payday to go after safer opponents. I'm telling you right now, no, man, these fighters are going to feel like complete fools if they mess around, go in there, fighting one of these cherry picks, one of these hand-picked opponents that they feel is going to be an easy fight, and they end up losing. And then you lose to somebody for a couple $100,000 when you could have actually made millions. Now, out of the three, Teofimo, he's the only one that was already making $1 million. But he was offered $4 million to fight against Devin Haney. And if he would have negotiated, he probably could have turned that into $5 million. But he just turned it all down altogether. And now he's going to end up fighting Kambosos for $1.5 million. See, fighters like Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, Jojo Diaz, they're looking up to their big bro, which is Canelo Alvarez. They're like, hey, well, if Big Bro is avoiding all the dangerous black fighters and he's still getting love from old media, maybe we can do the same thing. But the problem is, you guys have to understand, Canelo actually made his name off of losing to the biggest fighter of this era, Floyd Mayweather, right? That's where he made his name from, him losing to Floyd Mayweather and his controversial decisions over Gennady Golovkin. The problem with Ryan and Teo and Jojo, they haven't even got in the ring with fighters like Floyd Mayweather and Gennady Golovkin, right? You haven't even got to lose to names that big yet. So they thought that they were going to get the same type of reception by acting like Canelo Alvarez, but it's way too early in their careers to get that type of reception. The only way you're going to even get close to having a big name to where old media is going to grant you your platinum hope insurance card, because they got the hope insurance, but Canelo got the platinum hope insurance card, right? They're going to have to get in the ring with some big names and beat them. There ain't no more Floyd Mayweathers in the sport right now, so you can't even fight Floyd and lose to him and become a star. Now you're going to have to get in the ring with these dangerous opponents and actually beat them. Or, like Canelo often does, at least beat them with controversy, right? One way or the other, you have to get the W. Hopefully this whole year wasted for Teofimo was a wake-up call, and he does realize that it's not paying off to try to go the safe route. I might as well just go ahead and take these tough opponents, win, lose, or draw. Let's see if that's the fighter that Teofimo, Jojo Diaz, or Ryan Garcia ever becomes. Now, this experience has definitely humbled Teofimo Lopez, at least when it comes to him talking about making money, because if you guys recall, of course, he did a lot of talking on the microphone, and I always tell you guys, the most dangerous weapon in the world is what? A microphone and a camera. And boy, that microphone, it tore Teofimo's ass up because he said so many things that's coming back to bite him in the ass right now. There was an interview that Teofimo did a while back where he said, look, man, it's time for us to start making money now. We're not going backwards, we're going forward. It's time to start really making the money. I done put in all the hard work. Now it's time to reap the benefits. And once again, understand, when Teo said this, it was in the defense of him not fighting Devin Haney, because he kept trying to make it seem like he was choosing this Kambosos fight mainly because he's going to make ridiculous money for it. Not to mention, don't forget, he also demanded $10 million to fight Devin Haney. But now after Triller done showed him the bag and then took it away from him, now Teofimo is talking about money is not everything and the best things in life are free. He just posted that on his Instagram. Now he's trying to say he doesn't care about the money. He doesn't do it for the money. Matter of fact, there was a really interesting moment in that same interview, the clip I played, where the guys that were interviewing him, they actually spoke on this. They was like, man, but you were supposed to be, in the money. And matter of fact, let me just play this clip for you guys.
And if this is something that they try to forfeit, then we have the people of DAZN and ESPN to come back on board. So I'm not worried about it. You guys will see me fight this year. My goal is to fight twice this year before my son is born, and just move on from there.
Well, the story was supposed to be you're about to get rich, biatch, and that was, that was commendable. We were excited for you to take the stand, get the fight, the purse bid on Triller, all of that. I'm not trying to keep my finger in the sore, but I just wanted to close this by saying, do you regret this decision and this happening at all, or is it the money's still so good? We got, let's push this through.
No. Rich is just a state of mind. I'm wealthy. I'm already wealthy as it is, and I'm very thankful for that. So, to be honest, I just want to go out there and just go on different platforms, but also just show everybody who Teofimo really is. He's the takeover, the truth, and there's no lies in that. So I think honestly, rich, not rich, that's just something extra, but what really brings me and brings the wealth out of me is the amount of dreams that I could create for those kids out there that need that, the new generation.
Well, you heard it from Teofimo. So I guess if this isn't all about money and being rich and et cetera, then we're never going to hear him talk about being the A-side anymore, right? We're never going to hear him demanding $10 million to fight Devin Haney. Matter of fact, it should be easy for him to get in the ring with all of these guys now. Hell, because now money ain't a thing, right? That's always the biggest roadblock when it comes to negotiating. And according to Teo, he just removed that roadblock. So hell, that should be the next fight. Teo versus Devin Haney, or Teo versus somebody else big, and money should not be an issue is what he just told us. But I like the fact that the reporter asked him, do you regret this move? Because that's essentially what it means. When he says, do you regret this move? He's really saying to him, do you regret taking this Kambosos fight, trying to go the safe route, instead of just taking the dangerous fight that everyone wanted to see you in, which was against Devin Haney? Do you regret that? It trips me out how a lot of times you'll have these type of casual boxing fan reporters. Like this interview was conducted by, I believe the name was Morning Combat. And they cover all type of other sports, right? So they're not exclusive to boxing. But it's just so sad because the reporters that are exclusive to boxing, they're not asking Teofimo the tough questions. Like something else that these guys, they asked Teofimo earlier in this interview. They said, why are you trying to move up to 140 when all the big fights are at 135? I mean, they're calling you guys the Super Four, the Final Four, the Fantastic Four, and all of that. Why would you just move to a higher weight class and not fight any of those guys? That's a new media question. And I'm going to tell you guys, for some of you guys that are new to YouTube, when I was interviewing all of these fighters, I would be at the fights. I would be the only person asking the real questions consistently. Everyone else, they were there to try to protect certain fighters that were on the hope list. I was asking real questions to everyone. It didn't matter what your color was. It didn't matter what your position was. I asked real questions to all of the boxers. And what I mean when I say real questions is the questions that real boxing fans really want answers to. So when these reporters asked Teofimo this question, of course he started to completely lie. He said things like, look, man, I've been trying my best to make these fights. None of these guys ever sent me a contract. We know that's a lie, and I seldomly use the word lie. But the fact is, Teo had already went on his Instagram, and he said that he was sending out a contract to Devin Haney and Kambosos, and whoever signs the contract first, that's who he will be fighting next. And then Bob Arum, his own promoter, came out, and he contradicted what Teofimo said by saying fighters don't send out contracts. So that's ridiculous that someone would even say something like that. In fact, since I'm paraphrasing what Teofimo said, let me go ahead and play the actual clip for you guys. Check this out.
All right. You guys wanted to hear it. Everybody that's still on, y'all wanted to hear it. The end of April, beginning of May is my fight day. Well, my fight month. Against who? We're in the works of it.
We're going to throw contracts at Devin. We're going to throw contracts at Kambosos. Whatever we get back with, as long as we find a medium, we all agree on the terms, then that's your fight. They're all going to know. Why you think Devin said April? Everything's already falling into place, ladies and gents. Y'all just got to wait. Y'all so impatient. It's going to come. All of it's going to come. Y'all just got to be patient with it.
And that's why I call it a lie. Because Teofimo, he never sent Devin Haney a contract. In fact, it was only Haney's team that was trying to present offers to Teofimo. Teo, on the other hand, had never sent out any type of contracts or any type of offers to make a Devin Haney fight. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this fight up. We'll see if we get this Kambosos fight later in November, because Eddie Hearn is saying that if they pick up this fight, the fight should be in November, right? And when it comes to Jojo Diaz, since he's no longer getting Ryan Garcia, hopefully that means he's going to have no choice but to fight Devin Haney. Same thing with Teofimo. If he ends up not taking the George Kambosos fight after all, then once again, Devin is standing there waiting for either one of these guys. Let's see what happens. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.